Hello friends, welcome to the fourth session of Selenium WebDriver. So in this session, we are going to learn about how do we interact with the text boxes. So in general, we do enter value into the text box. We do clear existing value. Sometimes for verification purpose, we may retrieve the existing value of the text boxes. So technically we say clear the value from the text box is one, and enter value in text box is the second, and get the default value from the text box and get the various attributes from the text boxes. So apart from this, we do discuss about few examples and tips and best practices. Let's get started. So the first method is send keys. So this is the method we use it to enter the value in text box. So the example is driver dot find element by dot id. You can give the locator of your text box dot send keys. This is a method, and whatever you provided within these double quotes would be typed in this text box. So this is the syntax. So let's see one example over here. So I'm creating one new package. This is a project created already. So day_04. So the package creation is done. Right click, new. I'm creating a new class. So we can say working with text boxes, or we can say UI underscore interact underscore text box. So this is a method, this is a class we are creating. Select this so that the main method is added. So just clear this, and this is the area which we are using for our script generation. I'm copying this just instead of writing it, which we already discussed, so I just copied it. So this will launch the WebDriver using the Chrome browser, and it will open the sample HTML page. Right click, debug as. I'm opening in debug mode so that you can do the changes during runtime and can see how it is behaving. Right, so this will allow us to do the step-by-step executions. And now we are inspecting this just to see what are the properties. Right click, inspect. So just try, I'm trying it again. So this is a property id equal to fname. So now driver dot, we know the method, right? We discussed in last session, that is dot find element by dot put that id by dot id select, and fname is a property which we copied dot send keys. So this is to input the value or simulate whatever the keywords or whatever the letters which we pass in this send keys method. First name, test, close the double quotes. Okay, so as we are in debug mode, we can just select this line, right click and inspect. You got null, means it's executed. You see the first name test is typed in first name text box. So this is how the send keys will work with the text boxes. So now we look at clear method. So this is another method in WebDriver which can be used to clear the existing value. So the example is driver.findElement by.id. This is a locator of your text box dot clear. So what it does, let's see. So we have a session opened, WebDriver session. We have already first name test is entered in test value already there. So we will now clear that value using clear method. Okay, so this is already there. So driver dot, you can write code or you can copy because we are using the same text box only. Id f name dot clear. Got it? So select this line, right? So this value should be cleared right now. Once you execute it, right click, inspect, you see the value is vanished. So this is how the clear method will clear off the existing value from the text box. And the third method is get attribute. So this method can be used to get attribute from your text boxes. So whatever you pass within this method, that particular attribute will be retrieved. So let's see here, driver dot find element by dot id user first name dot get attribute, and this will retrieve the value attribute. So let's see, this is my HTML source code. Okay, so in this source code, if you look at over here, these are called as attributes. ID is one attribute, type is another attribute, name is another attribute, area required is another attribute, and this is another attribute, and this is also one more attribute. So if you wanted to retrieve any of these attributes, so we will be using get attribute method. And if you say name means this will retrieve return this value because we have used name. Got me? So if you use a type means it should retrieve text value. So this is how get attribute will work. You see, if you say area required, this will return true. Got it? So this is the way of using get attribute. Let's see one example over here. So we have the page opened. We have the session, webdriver session is available right now. So now we wanted to retrieve that salutation. So verify default value of this particular text box, salutation text box. So as I said, what is the method we use? We will use get attribute. So inspect it. So the first step is we need to identify this object. So for that we inspected it. So the ID salutation is object ID. So we will be writing driver dot find element by dot ID and paste that value which we copied, salutation. Okay, so now dot, now you will see the get attribute method. Just see get attribute, and whatever you pass, whatever the attribute you wanted to get, just pass that attribute so that it returns the value. So I wanted to get type or ID or value, so we wanted to see the mister, right? So that is nothing but it's a value. So copy that value, get attribute, and select that value. Okay, so then close it. Now as we are in debug mode, just select this particular thing. So before that I'm just storing in one variable. This will return string value, so I'm storing in string variable, string default value, so that the get attribute will be stored in this. So if you want, you can put some condition. If default value dot equals to whatever you wanted to verify, Mr. Okay, so this, then you can say this is pass. So for that we'll be writing system.out.println. Simply type sysout and control space so that you will get the complete line. Else sysout control space. Look at this, you can select that so that full code will be generated. Fail. So now select this, right click and inspect. You see you're able to retrieve Mr. dot value. So execute this complete line, select this 4 lines of code, right click, inspect. So maybe we used if else condition. Maybe you need to restart the test script. Yes, looks like we need to restart. So prior to that, let's see. Give me a moment. So just putting some breakpoint, trying something. So I think we need to restart the test. Maybe we need to recompile the code. Okay. So I saved it. Save. Now right click, debug as Java application. Okay. So continue. Now this is opened. Now run step by step. Right. So as we are running in debug mode, you can run step by step. This is the one. Okay. Now inspect. Get next step. Okay, you see the mystery is typed. Just mouse over here, that will show you the value because we are in debug mode. So both are equal, the condition met. Okay, so just see inspect true, so that the system out.println pass block will be executed. You see the console is printed that value. So this is how you can verify the default value in your text box. I hope you got this. So let's move on to the next. So we have seen some examples so far. How do we interact with the text box? How do we clear the text box value? And how do we get the attributes? So let's do this simple exercise again. So just copy these. This is my. These are the different steps we need to do it. Okay. So navigate to salesforce.com. Enter first name. Get the enter value and clear the value from the first name text box and retrieve type attribute, enter the value in last name text box. So let's get started. So this is my Salesforce page. Okay, so where is my Eclipse? So we also create one new package. Right click, new package. Every day we'll create one new package. It's a day 4th, so I create a day 4. Right click, new class, and I can write UI underscore interact underscore text box. Right, so we are working with the text boxes, so I put meaningful name. Select this so that main method will be generated. If you don't select it, just let's try it. So you have a only empty class opened. So now you can add main method. Type main, press Control space. Now this will show you this. Select it. Okay, save it. So now whatever you written in this particular block gets executed. Okay, so obviously the first step is to launch your browser. So we already have the code for this, so no need to write it. So I'm copying this code up to this. Okay, got it. So this is to set the WebDriver path and Firefox driver instance, and get means this will open the WebDriver, uh, open the particular window or like URL. Okay, so what is our case? So we need to navigate to this particular page, right? So copy this URL and paste over here. Okay, so driver.get is done. So now I will show you how we can modify this code in debug mode. Okay, so put some breakpoint. You can select toggle breakpoint and now right click. Don't do this. This will not stop your test execution at breakpoint. Instead, do this way. So this is the best way to learn and run dynamically, like you can make changes to the script and can run from that particular step. So now we are here. Okay, so this is launched with no URL. So now just if you don't do this, because it's a last step, execution will be completed. Just do a first step over. Okay, so now these steps get executed and you see this window is started. Okay, and what is our need? Our need is enter value in first name text box. So this is the first name text box. So to enter we need to inspect. Okay, I did inspect. Okay, so these are the various properties. So I think you can use ID. This is one of the best way, but I'm doubtful about this. This may be dynamic. Maybe next time this should be XYZM or whatever. So type you cannot use, but you see the name user first name seems to be the best locator. So copy this. So means I'm copying the name property. In this case, you need to write driver dot find element is method by dot. I copied name, so you need to use the name method. Okay, user first name dot send keys my demo. Okay, so got it, right? So if you wanted to test this code is working or not, just select this line and right click and inspect. If you get null means this is executed successfully. If it don't get executed, you will get some exception in your console window. You will see some exception over here. So there is no exception over here. It means it is executed successfully. Let's check this. You see my demo gets executed. So this is the first step of our practice. And the second is get the enter value and output in the console. Okay, so now we wanted to retrieve this and output it to the console. Means this is a console window. We need to type, we need to get this value and print over here. So to do that, so we will be using get attribute method. Okay, so get attribute, get attribute. Okay, so same driver dot find element. So I can use the same property because we are retrieving the value from it. So dot, so either you can use get attribute and you can pass value, or you can say get text. So sometimes this is also will work. So just to make sure it is working or not, select this line, right click and inspect. So it's written nothing. So maybe get text may not work. Let's look at value. So this is a tricky. Sometimes get text will work absolutely, but if not, then we can use get value. You will see you got the my demo. Okay. So just to print it, what we need to do, we need to store this in some variable string my value equals to this, so that the value will be stored here. So now to print to the console, you need to write sysout, press Control space. So the code will be generated. Now copy this, put over here. Okay. So now select these two lines and right click and inspect. You see my demo is type printed into the console. So this is the third step of your practical code. Okay, and the fourth is clear the value from first name text box. So just to clear it, you can write driver dot find element. Okay, so just type over here. Okay, so dot clear. Okay, so select this, right click and inspect the null. You see this is cleared. Got me? So this is clear. Now retrieve type attribute from the text box and output in console. This is the fourth step. So how to get the type attribute? Very simple. Just copy this. Okay. I'm putting another line. So we'll be using the same get attribute method. Instead of value, we will be getting the type attribute. Okay. So let's right click and view. Okay. Just inspect what is the type attribute. This is right. So it should get this text. So copy this type. Okay. So this is a duplicate variable. So you need to write my value 1 or something. Okay. So just to check whether it is working or not, select this line, right click and inspect. You see, we got retrieved this particular type attribute. So this is about this is the one. Okay. And the last step is enter the value in last name text box. Okay. Enter value in last name text box. Okay. So whatever, if you wanted to interact with any control, the first step is to driver dot find element by dot. Now you need to see what is the best way of identifying the last name. So inspect it. You see, I think user last name would be the best way. You can use ID, but again it is appended with S22K. So this is a risk to use this because this looks a dynamic. It can be changed for the next when launching the browser next time. So don't use it. So copy this last name. Okay. So by dot name. Okay. So user last name dot send keys. Hey guys. Okay. So I'm using hey guys as a last name. So select this, right click, inspect. You see, hey guys was typed over here. So this is how you can create your test scripts to interact with your text boxes. So let's see the summary. So far in this session we have discussed various methods to interact with the text boxes. The first is to clear the value from the text box. So this will clear, and send keys is the one method to enter value into the text box, and get attribute can be used to get any attribute value from the text boxes or any HTML element. Okay, so that's all about working with text boxes. I hope you got something in this session. Thank you very much for watching this video.